Hey everyone, welcome back to the Screen Review. Today we're breaking down Locked 2025, a tightly wound psychological thriller directed by David Yarovesky. The film stars Bill Skarsgård as Eddie Barish, a desperate thief looking for a quick score who breaks into what appears to be an abandoned luxury SUV in a deserted parking garage. But what starts as a petty crime quickly turns into something far more dangerous. The vehicle seals shut around him, and Eddie realizes too late that he's walked into a meticulously planned trap. The SUV is remotely controlled by its mysterious owner, William, portrayed by the legendary Anthony Hopkins, who calmly monitors and manipulates Eddie from afar. William isn't just interested in catching a thief. He's orchestrating a dark personal reckoning that forces Eddie to confront more than just his immediate survival. What makes Locked so compelling is its stripped-down setting and the high-stakes mental duel at its center. The film takes place almost entirely within the car, using the confined space to build a relentless, claustrophobic tension that rarely lets up. Skarsgård gives a raw, physical, and emotionally layered performance, capturing a man who swings between defiance, guilt, and fear. Hopkins, meanwhile, brings chilling precision and moral ambiguity to his role, delivering dialogue that cuts deep and keeps you guessing about his true motivations. Directed with razor focus by Yarovesky and written by Michael Arlen Ross, Locked is a character-driven thriller that thrives on tension, control, and moral complexity. It's a tight, slow-burn suspense story with big performances, and if you're a fan of cerebral thrillers that don't let you breathe, this one is absolutely worth your time. Locked doesn't rely on flashy action or elaborate set pieces. It zeroes in on psychological warfare, moral ambiguity, and the way grief and guilt can twist a person's sense of justice. With a runtime that never overstays its welcome, the film builds tension organically, layer by layer, through silence, smart dialogue, and escalating stakes. It asks hard questions without offering easy answers, and by the end, you're left wrestling with where your sympathies lie. This is a film that uses simplicity as a weapon, delivering sharp commentary wrapped in suspense. Whether you're watching for the performances, the tension, or the ethical gray zones it explores, Locked lands like a gut punch and stays with you after the credits roll. At the heart of Locked are two powerhouse performances that elevate the entire film and keep you locked in, minute by minute. Bill Skarsgård fully commits to the role of Eddie Barish, a small-time thief suddenly caught in a terrifying situation. Skarsgård's physicality is relentless. He sweats, panics, thrashes, and schemes. But what makes the performance hit harder is the emotional detail behind the desperation. You see the layers peel away as Eddie shifts from cocky intruder to vulnerable human being, forced to reckon not just with the trap he's in, but with the life choices that brought him there. Skarsgård plays every beat with urgency, but never overreaches. His performance is grounded, making Eddie feel painfully real and sympathetic even at his lowest moments. Opposite him, Anthony Hopkins delivers a masterclass in controlled intensity as William, the voice behind the car's security system. Hopkins doesn't need to raise his voice. His calm, deliberate cadence is far more unsettling. He plays William like a man who's thought through every word, every move, and yet still simmers with unresolved pain beneath the surface. There's no cheap villainy here. Hopkins gives the character moral weight and tragic complexity, which makes his actions feel all the more disturbing. Despite never sharing the screen in person, the chemistry between Skarsgård and Hopkins crackles through audio and reaction, creating a dynamic that feels intimate and charged. It's a psychological two-hander that relies entirely on performance, and both actors rise to the challenge. In a film with a minimal cast and setting, their work isn't just strong, it's essential. Unfortunately, neither character seems fully fleshed out by the end, and their motivations don't seem to justify their actions, making both main characters pretty unlikable. Performances are solid, but it seems more of a character. For a film that unfolds almost entirely within the confines of a single SUV, Locked moves with surprising momentum. The pacing is lean and deliberate, avoiding the common pitfalls of one-location thrillers that stall or feel repetitive. Every moment feels purposeful. Each beat escalates the tension or reveals something new, keeping the viewer locked in alongside the main character. There's no wasted motion, no filler scenes, just a tight, steadily rising sense of dread. Director David Yarovesky shows a strong sense of timing, letting the suspense breathe when it needs to, then tightening the grip when you least expect it. The film smartly balances moments of silence and stillness with bursts of intensity, never letting the audience settle into a rhythm. You're always waiting for something, an answer, an escape, a twist, and that anticipation keeps the pace alive. Unfortunately, the anticipation and climax are a bit of a letdown. The tension that was built throughout the movie isn't paid off in the end, as the mystery of both characters is set aside for tension and suspense. The atmosphere plays a huge role in that tension. From the first frame, Locked establishes a visual and tonal language that feels dark, grimy, and suffocating. The SUV's interior, normally a symbol of comfort and control, becomes a metallic cage, cold, clinical, and inescapable. Harsh lighting, claustrophobic framing, and minimal sound design work together to build a mood that's as psychological as it is physical. Even the garage around the vehicle, seen only in glimpses, feels decayed and abandoned, adding to the film's sense of isolation. This gritty environment isn't just about aesthetics, it deepens the film's emotional impact. The bleakness of the setting mirrors the bleakness of the themes: guilt, loss, justice, and punishment. It's not just a tense space, it's a moral pressure cooker. That atmospheric weight makes every line of dialogue, every pause, and every threat feel heavier. The result is a film where the setting and pacing don't just support the story, they are the story. The cinematography in Locked doesn't try to impress with sweeping visuals or flashy camera moves. And honestly, that's not a knock on the cinematographer. With nearly the entire film taking place inside a single SUV, there's only so much room to work with, both literally and creatively. The shots are tight, functional, and mostly restrained, doing exactly what they need to do to keep the story moving without becoming distracting or over-stylized. It's a case where the visual approach serves the limitations of the space rather than fighting against them. Angles are used effectively to emphasize Eddie's growing claustrophobia, and lighting shifts help mirror the emotional tone, but the cinematography never tries to outshine the performances or the writing. It's not groundbreaking, but it's solid, competent, and appropriate for the film's concept. Given the constraints, the visuals do their job, and sometimes that's enough. When it comes to rewatchability, Locked is pretty much a one-and-done experience. The film relies heavily on its central mystery, its tension, and the psychological power struggle between the two leads. Once you know how it plays out and what each character is hiding or fighting for, there's not a whole lot left to discover on a second viewing. It's gripping the first time because of the unknowns and the escalating pressure, but that suspense naturally fades when the surprises are no longer surprises. There's no layered subtext or complex narrative structure that rewards a second pass. It's effective in the moment, but it doesn't beg to be revisited. For most viewers, watching it once is more than enough to get everything it has to offer. Overall, Locked is a pretty generic film that is absolutely carried by Anthony Hopkins and Bill Skarsgård. The idea of a small one-setting film has been done before, and this one doesn't add much to the trope. The mystery of the film is basically shelved in place of tension and suspense, and neither character is very likable, though their circumstances might be understandable. Overall, this is a fun one-time watch, but that's probably the only time I will visit it. I'm feeling a solid 4 out of 10. But hey, that's just my opinion. What's yours? Leave it in the comments below, and let me know what I should review next.